All right. Well, it's we'll get started here on time here for out of the respect for everyone who's on the call. But I'm Victor Lund. I'm with the Wave Group and also the CEO of RE Technology. So this is an RE Techinar, and our audience today is comprised of MLS executives who are seeking information about showing solutions, which in light of the largest company in our industry being acquired by a brokerage has placed everybody's consideration about this product and this topic into question. You know, what is our strategy around showing solutions? What applications are going to be made available as a member benefit? What premium services might be available, and so on and so forth. So I have with us Stacy and Michael Speaks, and along with them, I have one of the top real estate agents in the country, Brian Copeland from the Austin market. Our format here today is I'm going to talk a little bit about showing solutions and then invite Michael and Stacy to talk about their experience in developing what we believe is one of the finest solutions in the industry. Then we're going to give you a quick view of the product, the application, which is a mobile application, and what it does. And then we'll have Brian Copeland talk about his experience as a top producing agent with this application and where he sees the market going, and then open it up to any questions that anyone in the audience may have. As we're going through today, feel free to put your questions into the chat box. By now, I expect everyone to be pretty familiar with Zoom, but if not, if you look at the base of your screen, you can see that the chat box is there. We may actually do the hand raising thing. We'll just see how it goes relative to the number of questions. So just to give a little context, it's not unusual for MLSs who are providing a member benefit to reconsider the partnerships that they have around core benefits and services and solutions. We've seen this before, and I think it's healthy, really, in a way, because I think a lot of MLSs are kind of looking at the showing solution for the first time and saying, oh, geez, well, in terms of the data and the exhaust of that data, what kind of implications or complications could that have for our members? And that's probably the most common thing that we've heard from MLSs that we've spoken to about this issue. One of the things and considerations that cropped up yesterday, which I think is profound and kind of turns things on its ear, is that having a broker who owns the showing solution gives that broker the opportunity to maybe modify the way in which that solution is being deployed into the marketplace today. So Zillow Group overall is a company that has pivoted their business into brokerage, and their brokerage services seem to line up into two buckets. One is their iBuyer components, and the other is their referral business. And for those of you who are familiar, Zillow, along with Ojo and HomeLight and OpCity, are sort of the leading brokerage companies in America who rely upon referrals. And people started talking about yesterday, well, what if Zillow just says we don't want to provide our showing solution anymore? It's only going to be available to companies that are participating in our referral program. And I think that raises a completely different question. But in any case, before all of this happened, Wave Group had been working with Michael and Stacy. We met them years ago. They developed the idea of their showing solution it started 5 years ago. I think Michael will share that with us. And where we became astutely aware of them is when they were in either the Win, Place, or Show performance at Realogy's FWD Summit. And then again, they performed in Win, Place, or Show at at NAR's IOI Summit. So where people are looking for inspiration and innovation, Stacy and Michael's product came to the forefront. They developed their product. You'll learn very quickly that they are real estate agents, top producing husband and wife team for Realty Austin. They developed the product to really solve a problem for themselves, and then they extended that application to their colleagues at Realty Austin. And it's from this base that they'll be sharing more of the information with you. I was really excited about working with Michael and Stacy because when they wanted their software designed, they didn't design it themselves. They went to one of the very best design shops in the country, right there in Austin, and they had that company design their product. And when it came to building the product, they entrusted David Gumper, the head of technology here at Wave Group, to work with the developers to build the application, build it with the best RESO standards in mind. I think everyone on this call understands David's participation in RESO, both as a director for many years and now in his current role as head of the broker advisory group. So, this was built as a plug and play endpoint solution, whether it's plugging into a multiple listing service or plugging into a brokerage service. The product works great. So with that, I don't know who wants to kick it off, but I'll hand it over to Stacy or Michael. Can you just talk about, sort of how you put the company together? We'll spend just a few minutes learning a little bit about you guys, and then we'll jump right into the demo, which I'm sure everybody is excited to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's super fun to be here and be with all of you all. Yeah, so Michael and I, as Victor said, have been realtors in the trenches here in Austin, Texas. We have been practicing realtors here since 2002. So we're kind of like old furniture in this real estate world, in Austin anyway. We've joined Realty Austin, which a lot of you on the call probably are familiar with Realty Austin. They tend to make all the lists, whether it's Swan Pool or Leading RE or whatever. They kind of win all the awards because they do everything really, really well. One of the things that they've done really, really well, and they are kind of known for, is having a pretty amazing, well, I should say, Realty Austin has for years been the #1 independent brokerage in Austin. They now just jumped over to now they're the #1 top producing independent brokerage in all of Texas, which I think is kind of amazing because we only have 600 agents. So when you think about brokerages that have a whole lot more agents, the fact that we kind of own market share is pretty astounding. Especially if you know who our competitors are here in Austin, Texas. So we've been boots on the ground agents. But what I was going to say is with Realty Austin, with the platform that Jonathan Boatwright, our broker, a co-founder and broker, built, is this major lead generation in the website that he has built over all these years. And so when Michael and I joined Realty Austin in 2010, we just had all these buyer leads and we had never worked with that many buyers. So over the years, our business has been pretty much split down the middle, buyers and sellers. When we joined Realty Austin in 2010, I mean, the quality of the leads that they were generating off of the website, we just all of a sudden started working with so many more buyers. And of course, we all know working with buyers can be incredibly time consuming. And part of the reason it can be as time consuming as it is because we have not, over all these years, addressed the pain points on the buyer's agent's side of the transaction. If you think about it, most of the tools and technology that has been built for our industry has been to solve the problems on the other side. And that's listing agents and sellers. And I am a listing agent. We represent sellers half the time. But the pain points really started to become glaringly obvious when we were just out showing property. Like we would have 5 buyers in a week and showing 8 to 10 to 12 properties a day. And my Michael is, he's a problem solver. He's an innovator. And he would just, on the daily be observing, this is so old school. This is so clunky. The fact that we are printing MLS sheets and creating an itinerary in Excel and handing our clients a clipboard, and they're getting ready to make the biggest investment that they're ever going to make. And they're doing that by scribbling in the margins of their MLS sheets. Y'all know how this goes, or flipping that MLS sheet over at the end of the day to draw a matrix with all the pros and cons of each property. And we were just like, oh gosh, we got to do better. We got to make our lives better because it is incredibly time consuming. We all know this. When we're talking about booking, scheduling 8 properties to show the next day, that is a whole 2-hour process. I mean, that is a whole, by the time you get the MLS numbers or the addresses from your client that they want to see, and then you build an ideal itinerary based on where you're going to pick your client up or where you're going to meet them, when you need to end the day by, building that itinerary, then we got to book the appointments and see if that ideal itinerary is really going to work, right? And so we build the itinerary, we book the appointments. By the time we get all the confirmations, moving stuff around, all the business, and we've got a good, solid, confirmed itinerary, we all know how it goes now. Because we get up the next day to go meet the client, and guess what? 3 new properties have shown up on the market, or 3 have gone under contract. So now we got to reshuffle everything around. So all of that is painful, like really painful. And so it's super time consuming. Then the fact that in 2021, we're still, well, I should say before TourZazz, before the fact that we go pick up a client, and I don't care if they're 28 or 78, the fact that we hand them a clipboard with printed MLS sheets and they're having to scribble in the margins is just kind of silly that we aren't doing better by the consumer than that. So you probably can just feel I get really amped up about this, and it's because we're just really passionate about making all of our lives better, all of us as agents better, and creating a better consumer experience. I mean, come on. It's like in 2021, our clients, they expect a smartphone experience, and it's really up to us as an industry to deliver that. So we think as an industry, we've really failed the buyer side, buyer's agent side and the buyer side. So TourZazz was really born out of our passion to fix all that. So I'll say that, like, do you want me to pause for a minute, take a breath? Victor, I can keep going, you know.
No, I think we're good. No, I mean, that's a great introduction. I think, you know, a lot of people on the call are, you know, they're all very familiar with the applications that are available in the marketplace today and the services that they provide as a member benefit. So I think at this point, we'll have Michael jump on and give a demo. And Michael, just as a background, can you talk a little bit about the design firm that you worked with to develop the application?
Yeah, when we originally started our development efforts, it was with a company called Springbox. They have since been acquired by one of the largest developers in the world. But at the time, they assigned, when we worked with them, they assigned six developers and designers to do a market studies research project. They actually visited some of our favorite hotels all around the country. And they got a real good taste of the different colors, the vibes, everything. And they integrated that all into the design of this. And so
how really is happening in various markets around the United States.
Correct. Yep. And so, and one of the biggest things, David can attest to this as well. One of the biggest things MLSs are saying is the UI and the UX is unbelievably beautiful. And and so I attribute a lot of that to Springbox. But then when Springbox got acquired, we were, you know, at the time we were a very small startup, and we were just too small for their list of clientele. So we were forced to get out there. And around that time was when we went to Realogy Forward to compete. We won a top 10 finalist there. And then that's, of course, when you approached us right off the stage and said, hey guys, I tell you what you're doing is amazing. I think this is the pick of the litter, but I also think that we need to work with you to look at integrating this with the MLSs. It was a new business model for us. And that was the magic moment that happened for us to kind of pivot and realize that we need to work with Wave Group and moving forward. As a result of that, that's how you got us aligned with David Gumper, as well as we went through a whole RFP process at David's guidance to be able to seek out, search, and select a whole new development company that was incredibly familiar with real estate prop tech technology. And so we have been more than thrilled to have been working about 16 months now with this design group, with this development group, in order to create this. Did that answer your question?
It did. And, you know, I think for everyone on the call today, it's important to understand that one of the great things about developing applications for iOS or for the Google Play Store is that these applications are being managed and hosted in a way that's incredibly scalable. So many of the nobody ever asks the question, like, what would happen if I added 200,000 concurrent users to your mobile app today? Because that's never a problem, and it's never been a problem as long as the product is architected correctly. The big challenge for us was to get the developers to understand the unique applications of real estate and how data is licensed and managed and protected in the real estate industry. And I'm super excited to have worked with Michael and Stacy around the data licensing terms that they have, and to create that certainty for MLSs and brokers that any contributions, any data or user contributions that happen through this application are owned by the company that's providing them. They're simply providing the software. The data components to it are not retained or owned or repurposed or reused in any way, which I think for today's conversation is probably one of the most important ones. So at this point, I think we want to introduce David, and I think David's going to show the application and Michael's going to talk through a lot of what thought process went into making it work the way it works. So with that, welcome, David.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to, Michael, I think you're going to go ahead and just run from your device right now, correct?
So Victor, since we now have internet, we're fine. We were having to have David use his device because of bandwidth issues because we didn't have internet until this morning at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, they're in Austin, Texas. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's been kind of a panic. These guys have been doing 5 or 6. Yesterday there was no power or internet, so it made for a pretty challenging environment.
No water,
we were able
no
to pull it
power,
off.
no air.
So anyway, correction, Michael, take it away. Let's see the product.
I sure will. So to put it in context, what we're going to walk everyone through today is just a very brief demo. There are certainly a lot more things that we can go into specifically as to how dynamic and how real-time and how flexible, which is a keyword to a lot of buyers agents. We have made the system to adapt to their real-life, real-time situations. So let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press share here, the screen. Victor, are you all seeing my screen okay?
Yes, sir. We got it loud and clear, or whatever.
This is the life of a realtor. This is the life of a realtor's app homepage with all the apps on the homepage. So, so what I'm going to do is you'll see in the very top left-hand corner, I'm going to go ahead and click on the TourZazz icon. It opens this up to our TourZazz homepage. Every agent, every assistant on the platform, Brian Copeland, which we'll hear from here in a few minutes, he works with this app all the time. First thing, what I'm seeing here on the screen is a list of my property tour itineraries that I have set up that are all upcoming. Now, you can see at the bottom of the screen where we have a legend that identifies whether the full property tour, whether it's one home or 15 homes on a tour, all of the appointments have been confirmed. If it's yellow, which you can see at the top above David's name, it's green, which means it's fully confirmed. But if it's yellow, it means we still have outstanding appointment requests out there for listing agents, sellers, property managers, and tenants. Then we have, if it's in red, that means we have a rejection or denial of a particular appointment that we need to address. The buyer's agent can quickly reach out to the recipient from within the app, make modifications, and move forward with approving the showing request. So before I get into creating a quick tour to show you how to create a tour and set appointments, I'm going to give you a real brief overview of our menu items here. Going from top to bottom, we have tours, which list all of our tours, which is the page that I just showed you. Contacts, which list all of our contacts. We have my profile, change password, showing messages, which actually allows us to view all incoming and outbound showing approvals directly from within the app. Even though me as a buyer's agent, I'm getting these notifications as push notifications on my iPhone, my Android, or my web desktop, including my Apple Watch. I'm getting the appointment approvals on my Apple Watch. So it's pretty exciting when my wife and I can be eating at dinner, not having to worry about scheduling appointments, and we're sitting there and all of a sudden my phone buzzes me or my watch buzzes me and, hey, I just got an approval. Fantastic. And then of course we go back to the menu. We've got a notification settings where the agent can turn on and off various features of the app. And one of the important things so far in the last 3 days, given the 10 MLSs that we've been speaking with so far, one of the things they've gotten incredibly excited about is that David and I and our development team, we have integrated a software development kit, an SDK, via an SDK, the ability to create support requests and tickets directly from within the application. This is particularly helpful for a real estate agent who's out doing a property tour, and they may have questions about the application. They may have, who knows, there may be a bug. We haven't had that issue so far, but there may be some issues that come up that the agent can't wait till the end of the day in order to reach out and contact us. They need immediate request or support. So they have the ability from within, if you can see here, I'm going to open it up. They have the ability to open up and start a conversation directly with our customer success team. All right, now I'm going to get down to the ease of creating the tour here. David, actually, Victor, I think David's going to be our buyer today. He's going to be our buyer today. We're going to use David as our buyer and his wife, Kelly. So, all right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to click create a tour. And you'll notice at the top of the screen here, we've got a 5-step process in creating the tour. That's a progress timeline. We're on the first step indicated by the first big dot. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to begin typing in the name. Oops, David Gumper. And there we go. We added David as a buyer to this tour. Now we can add 1, 3, 5, even 10 buyers to this tour. Recently, Stacy and I, we helped a buyer client 2 weeks ago that had grandparents in one state and her dad lived in another state. We had all of them added to the same tour. They were all able to follow along on the same property tour once all appointments were confirmed. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to choose tour speed. One of the things that creates a challenge to a buyer's agent when they're setting up a tour is determining how long are they going to stay at each property. You know, a 3,000 square foot home, you cannot apply the same time frame to a 10,000 square foot home. A 1 acre property, you can't apply the same tour time frame as you can to a 100 acre time frame. So what we've done is we've created a complex algorithm that allows when the agent chooses slow, average, fast, very fast, or they don't know yet, it's going to adjust the entirety of the tour for each property, for each lot, and for additionally Google Maps, tour traffic speed, and everything. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, David, if you're okay with it, we're going to go fast today. I'm going to click next. Now I'm going to choose, we're going to go out on Sunday. We're going to choose the date and time, and we're going to go out at 10 a.m. I'm not going to put an end time because we don't have a cutoff time. But if David and his wife were in Austin and they had friends, they had a dinner planned with friends tonight, they were staying at a hotel, I could put in what time I need to have them back to the hotel at. And if the tour in its entirety doesn't allow us to do it and get back to the hotel in time, we will receive a warning telling us to modify the tour. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to click next. And this is the point, the third stage out of the 5 stages to set up or to add the properties that David and his wife are interested in. He's already given me that information. He's already texted me. So I'm going to I can enter the MLSs by the number, or I can enter them by the address. So all I have to do is click on the MLS number. And oh, give me a second here. I lost my ability to paste it. So give me just a second. I'm going to go get my emails here real quick, or excuse me, get my MLS numbers here. There we go.
Michael's doing that. I think it's important. I did want to mention that in the process of doing the rapid deployment or development of this product, we need to give a shout out to Austin's MLS. As many of you know, they set up a development server that allows people who are building products to work off the data that's on their RESO compliant development server. So when this product was originally built, I mean, we're dealing with live data now, but when it was originally built, that was a huge help. So shout out to Austin and Stan and those guys for propping up that server.
Yeah, thank you for bridging that. Okay, I'm going to get back here, and as you can see on the screen, I'm just simply going to paste all of the MLS numbers, and just like that, TourZazz adds all of the properties that our client wants to see on the tour. If I want to, I could also click on each address, and I can scan through the photos. I can also scroll down and look at showing details, instructions. We're giving the agent, while on the fly, the quick access to be able to communicate with the listing agent by way of phone, SMS, text, or email. We also include private remarks, financial details, a lot of information that would normally be seen on a printed MLS sheet. I'm going to click next. As you can see at the top, we're at the 4th of the 5 final stages of setting up this tour. What we're giving the agent the ability to do is choose their meeting location. They can choose a Starbucks, they can choose a hotel, they can enter anything, but we're also giving them suggestions, as you can see on the screen here, of my office. A lot of agents, especially those who are following Larry Kindle's the ninja method. So about the rolling, about the rolling top 3 and et cetera, but also doing proper buyer consultations. Well, we give the agent the ability to choose their own office that they have in their profile settings as the meeting location, as well as any other properties. Maybe this is the 4th time we've been out on tour, and the client wants to meet, the client wants to meet at the first property on tour rather than a location. In this example, I'm going to choose my office. We're going to choose the duration for which we want to meet at my office, 30 minutes. And we're going to click next. We're going to choose an end of tour location. And actually, in this example, we don't have to have David and his wife back. So we're going to click skip. And it's going to say you are choosing to skip the end of tour location. So your last selected property will be treated as the destination. Fine with me. That's great. And then the final step in the process, which is where we give agents the opportunity to have a little fun with, is to be able to add various breaks, whether they're coffee breaks, snack breaks, lunch breaks, whatever that may be. So in this example, I know that David and his wife love some Texas barbecue. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add a break here. We're going to choose about 45 minutes for a break here. We're going to choose from the pull down menu: coffee, lunch, rest, snack. We're going to choose it as a snack break. We're going to get David's hands dirty with some barbecue, some Texas barbecue. So, and then we're going to choose, let's see here. Where would I want to go today? We're going to choose Cooper's barbecue right here. So I'm going to click save break, and there we go. You can see a snack break added to the tour. I can add as many breaks as I want to. So at this point, you can see by the progress timeline, the bar, that I've completed the process of setting up the tour. Now we're going to let TourZazz work its magic. I'm going to click create tour. Check this out. There we have it. So you can see scrolling at the top of the screen, it says proposed tour itinerary. At this point, appointments have not been set. TourZazz is simply giving me the layout of how, or giving me the opportunity to customize or to confirm that the tour that it is producing for me is correct and to my liking. I don't particularly like the idea of leaving my office and going straight to eating barbecue in the morning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here. You can see that TourZazz put a break right after the Realty Austin buyer consultation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click reorder tour stops, and I'm going to move, hold down, and I'm going to move these properties around to how I want them. So we're going to look at 3 properties in the morning and then have a snack break. And then we're going to go look at 3 properties in the afternoon. I'm going to recalculate this tour. As you can see on the screen, we're still meeting at Realty Austin for 30 minutes. We're going through 3 properties. Then we're having a snack break at Cooper's Barbecue. And then we're going to finish the 3 additional properties, ending at around 4:25 in the afternoon. Now, one of the things that David has told me, that his wife really loves the Westlake property, 1859 Westlake Drive. She wants to see that one first. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to move the property up here, recalculate the tour. And additionally, I'm going to choose the little clock icon out to the right, and I'm going to give us about 15 more minutes and override the system, allowing Kelly and David to be able to have a little bit more time at the property to really soak in all the details. So there we have it. So we have the proposed tour exactly the way we want it. Now I'm going to press schedule appointments. This is what agents are loving. We're probably going to hear from Brian Copeland here in just a minute about how this translates into a ton of time saved in his own personal business. So I'm going to press schedule appointments. As you can see here on the screen, I receive a pop-up message that tells me that showing requests via text and or email will now be sent to the showing recipient based on the showing instructions in MLS. So for everyone on the call, what we're doing here, especially using the Rezo Data Dictionary and other fields within the MLS system, we are having our system check the showing contact type, all the showing contact information, etc. And that's what our system is using to send out the appointment request. Just like all of you have probably experienced from your doctor, when you have a doctor's appointment or any other type of appointment that texts you asking you to confirm your appointment, press 1 to confirm or press 2 to cancel, and another day or time will be arranged. That's exactly the same technology that we're using in order to get appointments set up and approved. So far the feedback from the buyer's agents and the listing agent side and the seller has been amazing. It's saved them so much time. No more picking up the phone. It's all about the text. It's all about the text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click confirm. And you can see on my screen, your appointment requests are being sent. I'm going to click OK. Now, what all of you on the call are not the recipients of are the actual showing requests that are going out. We have very clean push notifications, text messages, and emails that are going to the property managers, the listing agents, the sellers, and or the tenants, depending on who the showing contact is set to within that particular property listing within the MLS. But for this example, what I want to do is I'm going to show you that if I get a call from a seller or a listing agent saying that your time of 10:50 is okay, just don't let the cat out, turn all the lights off, etc. These are often the texts that we as buyer's agents are receiving. What I can do is I can manually go in here and click on the check mark icon next to the circle, and I can manually approve these appointments right on the spot. So Victor, what I'm going to do is I'm going down and I am approving all of these appointments. And what I want all of our callers to notice are the buttons at the bottom of the screen. At any point, we can add more buyers, we can add more properties, and we can also reorder these tour stops at any given time, even if we already have a fully confirmed itinerary. Not what will happen as a result of this, if you delete a property or you add another property in place, TourZazz has a totally different set of notifications that goes out with appointment change request or cancellation request. So whatever is happening, whatever event is occurring on the tour in real time, it allows the agent with the click of a button without calling a call center to be able to click one button, and TourZazz handles all the communications with all the appropriate parties involved on that showing. So finally, what I'm going to do is, Victor, I'm going to click this, and the final property here at the bottom, notice the very bottom right button that says update appointments. Immediately changes to send itinerary. So now all I have to do, once I get all confirmed appointments, is press send itinerary. Since David's my buyer, David, did you experience anything on your end, or did you receive anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just got the email.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. And so what you're not seeing on the screen again is the buyer version of this tour itinerary, which allows them to open it, view property details, tax information, HOA, photos, everything that they would want to have in the palm of their hands. So, and one thing I want to point out, Victor, real quickly, is just to show how flexible and dynamic in real time this system is. We've developed this to be a really smart system. And I just want to show one brief example as to how smart it is. If we finish up our barbecue and David and Kelly call me up when they're following me and say, hey, you know what? We've decided we don't want to see 4191 Westlake Drive. We don't want to see it. Well, the way it is now, what do I have to do, Victor?
Well, I think you have to call the listing agent and cancel the appointment, and then call Kentucky Derby's listing agent and let them know you might be coming sooner. And
That's
then
exactly right.
reroute your driving instructions and somehow relay those back to the buyer in the car behind you.
Yeah, it makes it, and furthermore, what makes it even more complicated is when I'm calling, I'm just calling, and I personally experienced this before, when I called a call center and someone says, hold on, we need to get in hold of the listing agent or the seller, and it takes 2 hours later and I'm getting a call back. And so my point in that is that all the agent has to do is simply press delete. Oop, I actually pressed the property. Give me a second here. All they have to do is press the delete button here, and I receive a notice that says, are you sure you want to delete the property? TourZazz will send a cancellation notification for this particular property and will recalculate the tour route automatically, which may require you to schedule appointments. So all I click is yes. And what will happen here is a red bar will show up for any affected properties after the one I deleted, telling me that an appointment change is required. And all I have to do is press schedule appointments, and TourZazz will automatically send out a change of appointment request to all those listing agents and sellers or the property manager or the tenant on our behalf, and wait for the confirmations, which will update in our app every 10 seconds.
And you'll get notifications on your Apple Watch, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yep.
thank you. That was, I think a really great introduction to the software you've developed, and it's pretty obvious to understand what a benefit this is. While you were showing the product, there's a number of questions that came in that David has been answering. So David, can you just run through some of the Q&A real quick? And then Brian, this is your 2-minute call. We'll have you on in just a second to talk about your experience with the application. But I guess, just maybe getting started with Jim Spears' question. Yeah, this is live in Austin. And for any of you that are in the CoreLogic ecosystem, the application is created to be pretty much plug and play. So that is not a problem. In terms of how it would integrate with your system, I think that MLSs have a variety of integration paths. Some of you operate with dashboards and single sign-on links. Some of you embed calls to action to schedule a showing within the listing detail page. We would have to just meet with you to discuss that, but I can tell you that David and I have worked with Michael and Stacy to make sure that it's going to accommodate the different integration applications that you might have. So I wouldn't be too concerned about. There is a comment in here indicating that showing instructions are not available. They're not available data fields within a particular MLS. So yeah, we'd have to talk about how to deal with that. But it shouldn't be a problem because that's sort of the default more than a lot of people store their showing instructions in the MLS system natively. So that is data that would be accessed. Yes, it uses VAL data because it's showing instructions, but that's only available to the realtor. It's not available to the consumer, obviously.
Correct.
Does the system automate the driving? Yes, and Brian's going to tell us about his experience with that, which is even more fun. App is available. Yes, there's a web browser version as well as a mobile app version. Brian, one of the things I'd really like you to talk about, which wasn't covered in the demo, is how your assistant uses the application, because there's been a lot of conversation that we've had after these discussions with TourZazz, with both brokerages and MLSs related. A lot of these people have systems that have call centers, and they're expensive. It's 5 or 10 times more expensive than the application itself to get somebody to answer the phone who just really goes into the software and uses the software. So I'd love for you to expound a little bit on that. Driving directions, yeah, it's totally automated using Google's algorithms for modifying timing. So if there's, like, you guys get stuck in a traffic jam in Austin, I'd like you to talk about what that experience has been, Brian, because I know it's real. What if the listing agent wants to receive a phone call and not email or texts? So you can address that. Is there feedback on collection, calling sellers to confirm the appointment? Do appointment into fields be added to the MLS? We talked about that.
Victor?
Is the interface for, yeah, go ahead.
Victor, real quick before Brian stepped in, one of the things in the notification settings under the menu, I noticed a couple people making comments about being able to manually call agents and things like this. Yeah, we give the agent the ability to toggle off all outbound notifications using TourZazz to build the tour, but manually set up tours as if they've always done it. But then after they get everything approved, then they can send it off to the digital version off to their buyer client.
Awesome. Well, Brian, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I just want you to start by just telling us a little bit about yourself. I mean, we've already said that you're with Realty Austin. You're a top producing agent. Just tell me a little bit about your business, how many trades you do a year, what your team looks like.
Sure, absolutely. I've been in real estate since 2001 in Austin, Texas. Started off when I was a student at University of Texas, leasing all my friends, and it was kind of a nice way to get into it. And those friends grow up and end up buying homes. And so I was in the right city, at the right place, at the right time. I like to say it's better be lucky than good. And my business has progressively grown as the years have gone by. And a lot of people look at me and say, "You've been in the business almost 20 years." And I say, "Oh, I guess I age well sometimes, except for the gray, But this business is a very hard business, and a lot of it, you have to be so organized about how you go about it. And so I'd love to kind of tie this in with TourZazz, but my business has grown. I don't know how many homes I actually sell a year, but I can tell you I'm with an amazing company, the number one company in Central Texas. I was top producer at the company last year out of 650 agents, and it did over 50 million in sales. So we were quite busy.
Yeah, congratulations. I really appreciate that. And that's, it's one of the things that MLSs are incredibly aware of when they think about products and services that they're going to offer as a member benefit. Like, who are the recipients of that benefit? In a lot of MLSs today, you might not be aware, but more than half the agents don't sell any real estate, which is stunning, but it's a true reality. So, it's important that when they're delivering tools that are going to, that are aimed at making life better for agents, that they're talking to producers, people that, if I only have one buyer's tour that I do a month or every 3 months, an application to modernize the showing experience probably isn't that relevant to me. I have time to do it. So before TourZazz, you had a process for organizing all your buyers tours. Can you tell us a little bit about that process, how you did it, how much time it took, et cetera?
So I actually have one assistant, and we've been working together for about 8 years, so we drive pretty well. And she doesn't even live in Austin. And with the pandemic, things have changed, and technology has been a great thing, and clients really don't care as long as you're getting it done. And so that leaves me to be the one to do the showings. And so typically, pre-TourZazz, she would set up the showing, spend half her time, setting up tours, calling agents, frustrated, trying to get me an itinerary, send me a PDF printout for myself, PDF printout for my clients. And I'd have to run back to the office, print them out, then I'd have to spread them all over the table, get them all in the right order, write the times on them, and staple them all together and be ready to run out and always be consistently 5 minutes behind. And so, what that's done now with TourZazz is first of all, I'd like to step back. When Michael and Stacy, we are with the same company. So I've been very lucky to be with such an innovative company. And this is one of the amazing tools we have and have started to use. And so we've been a great test case. And when Michael and Stacy first told me about this, I didn't get it. I went back to Catherine. I said, "Catherine, Michael and Stacy sharing this thing called TourZazz. It's a mapping tool." Like, I had no idea until I actually used it. And, he said, "Brian, just wait. It's going to be a game changer." And so when it started to roll out, it was a part of a very small test case of beta users using it. And I started to get it pretty quick. And what it's allowed us to do is it's allowed my assistant, Catherine, to actually spend time on things that matter. Right. And so there have been instances now in my current crazy business that she said, "Brian, have you, I'm trying to set up the appointment. I'm trying to set it up." And I said, "Catherine, I already did it." Because it was that easy. Right. And I'm not getting paid. I have zero ownership in TourZazz. I'm just telling you, as a realtor in the business in Austin, Texas, that's busy, that I love it. And it literally is as easy as Michael just showed us, where you type in the MLS numbers and it pops right up and it sends it. And the notifications happen like that. I call my clients. I say, "Look, Mr. and Mr. So-and-so, you should have just received an email with the exact itinerary where we're going to be and when. And they said, oh my God, this is easy, right? And so it's really made our business more effective because it allows us to have more meaningful conversations and do more meaningful work. It allows us to follow up on our SOI more. Catherine's not working on just setting up schedules all day for future tours. And so, I'm happy to field any additional questions you have, but it's really made a meaningful difference. And I can't wait for actually people in the city because to start using it on a large scale, because when it first started, people get this random text and I would get a text from agents and say, what is this? Like, is this spam? Did you mean to send it to me? And I said, no, it's for real. All you have to do is just respond 1 or 2 or whatever they get, a yes or a no. And so I think as this system grows and more users across the state and the country use it, it will actually become even more effective on the other side and people will understand it. And so I think it's very important that this thing grows fast because it will help others just like it helps me. As far as call centers, in Austin, we don't have a call center. And I can't tell you why exactly. We just never have in my almost 20 years of being in the business. But I have shown property in Houston before. And my sister is a realtor in Houston. And I know in Houston they have one. And so I have had very, very small taste of what a call center is like. And I actually thought a call center at the time was like the greatest gift to realtors because I didn't have TourZazz, right? I was always making the call myself, right? But I think anybody with a call center, the perspective they're going to have is quite different once they start using this app because you just don't have to pick up the phone and call people. And everybody knows how frustrating that is. You call nobody hates operators more than me and probably most of y'all out there. And calling a call center, in my experience, was calling somebody to pick up the phone. Yes, show HAR call center. How can I help you? What property would like show? You still have to have the information in front of you and figure out the scheduling on your own. And this just literally automates it all for you.
Now you use now showing time is available in your market. What's your experience been with that, and how do you see that different from TourZazz?
Yeah, showing time is quite different. Showing time, even if you go in showing time, you still have to wait in line outside. In Austin, it's just a crazy market. But showing time's frustrated. I literally last week booked a showing on showing time. And then, I get a notification 30 minutes later that my time has been canceled. So I go back on showing time. I look at it. The entire day was canceled. And I'm like, what? How annoying is this process? You have to go to the MLS, you have to click on a button, and then you have to click on more buttons. And it's just more work, more time, less time doing more income producing activities. And so there's frustrations that come with it. And I think, TourZazz is going to grow and implement additional tools. And the reaction has been very positive up to this point. So I really, I talked to Stacy and Michael because they're with my company and I've given them hopefully a lot of meaningful feedback on this. And I think that this can be a fully integrated system where showing time is just so antiquated and old and it even looks old. You have to figure out where that 15-minute window is. You don't even know what you're clicking on. It's incredibly frustrating because you still have to do all the other work on the back end.
Do you think that the application would be more helpful to you if all of the members of a multiple listing service were on, or do you think that this is a product that's better situated as like a broker exclusive in your market?
No, I think it needs to be a wide scale app tool used. And the reason being is because the more people that use it, the more people that are familiar with it. And it's that simple that, people don't respond like they used to on this app. I think word is out, even though agents can't use it outside of Realty Austin right now. I think that's about to change from what I hear, but, because they've worked through all the adjustments and kinks that any new app, and service offers, is I think the more familiar people have in the larger scale, wider scale it is, the more like, for example, if I'm scheduling a showing with a showing outside of my office, everybody with our office knows about it, right? But if I'm showing a home outside of our office, if that other agent is using it as a part of their presentation to their clients, they're going to offer it as a as a value add service for their clients, that they're going to be aware what it is. So when they get these notifications, they're not going to have to be checking their emails. They're going to get a notification on their phone. They click yes or no. I think the more awareness that people have of it, the greater the service will actually be on the wider scale. So.
Excellent. Well, we have about 10 minutes left, so I'd like to thank all of my panelists that were here today, and we're going to address any of the questions that we have. So one of the questions is around a listing feedback solution. So Michael, you've answered this question before. And again, we have 9 minutes, so please make it brief, but how do you handle showing feedback today in your business, and how do you contemplate doing that in your application moving forward?
You know, the short answer is yes. We are actually, we currently have it prototyped, and our development team is actively working, and we will soon be introducing a feedback solution. As a practitioner, what I can tell you is there are feedback solutions out there that have been in place for a long time. And we recently surveyed about 200 agents to ask them how they feel about those feedback solutions. The most common answer we got was it's a waste of time, because in most cases, the feedback solutions, whether it's from a showing service, whether it's from a dedicated lockbox feedback system, or whatever that may be, it's a canned, predetermined set of questions that aren't really a benefit and benefit to the seller, especially if they're not answered adequately.
Yeah.
And
Ryan, do you use it? Do you give sellers agents feedback, or do you blow it off?
That stuff is junk. That stuff is junk.
Okay.
I mean, it's automated. Everybody knows it's automated. It goes, half the time it probably goes to spam. Nobody wants to respond.
Victor,
it's bad.
Victor, one more, just short phrase. Texting is where it's at now.
Excellent. So the next question, I'm sorry, we're in the fire round here. Yep. So the next question is the desktop application. So how does it work on desktop?
Same interface.
Same
exact
login, same username and password. Excellent.
Yep.
And we have not connected this application to an MLS's roster for verification or for single sign-on, but that is architected into the application, whether it's a broker single sign-on or an MLS's. So be aware of that. The answer to the question about is an MLS providing TourZazz in the marketplace today? No, is the answer to that. But hopefully, based upon our actions this week, there'll be quite a few. Any other questions that I have missed? If I missed your question and you're mad at me, please put your question back into the chat box again. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of them. I think we answered them all, but if anybody's still asking a question, we have about 6 minutes left.
David, real quick, there was a question about planning to integrate a live or showing, or excuse me, a call center into TourZazz's business model. One of the biggest reasons why we enabled agents to toggle off outbound showing appointments was to give them the opportunity to use TourZazz to schedule the tour, not to schedule it, to create it, and to be able to share it digitally. But you can still, if you choose to still use a call center outside of it, you can still do that and manually approve the appointments as you get the confirmations.
So Steve Hayes wants to know, so in the application, you have the ability for a buyer's agent to take a call from a seller's agent. Sometimes they just call you back and say, hey, Michael, tell me about your buyer, maybe before they let you, before they confirm the meeting. So you have that conversation. You've developed the app so that you as the buyer's agent can go in and confirm that based on the phone call. So I think I answered Christy Gifford's question about the ability for a showing agent to approve their own showing. So yes, that is why that functionality is there. And showing analytics,
Victor,
where is that in your roadmap?
I can actually do a quick answer to that. Our own broker, Jonathan Boatwright, which a lot of people on this call probably know. I was talking to him recently, and he's been really helping us guide us into the analytical development of TourZazz to be able to bring transparency to buyer agency down to the level of agent teams across the board, not only the seller side, but also the buyer side. the buyer side. So yeah, there's probably a lot more that we could share on that. We can talk specifically to MLSs or brokerages about.
Great. And I'm going to invite you to contact Steve Hayes, who's on the call today, and just talk about a little bit about the reasoning why you have why you've configured it so the buyer's agent can confirm showings that might come in via text message from the agent, not through the system. In other words, and then I think we should probably do a write-up that talks about the seller reports that we have architected for the system that are not available yet. So we can get some feedback from a couple of the people on the call today who are curious about that. This application was built to solve the problems of buyer's agents first. They're a lot more significant than what the listing agent than what is available for the listing agent today. But those modules have been developed. They just haven't been deployed. Do you have any plans to sell to anyone soon? Maybe you, Greg. And do you have a broker dashboard option? So again, the answer to that question, Lori, is that with the assistant module, a buyer's agent could have, their assistant manage the creation and approval of these requests for them, or an office manager or an office staff could also do that for any number of agents in the company. So, and additionally, if your MLS wanted to provide this service where your help desk or call center would go through the process of using the application to confirm tours, that is also available. So in terms of the broker dashboard, not sure what you're asking for exactly, Lori, but hopefully I answered your questions.
And
we have about 3 minutes left.
We can answer more questions on that specifically. We have some pretty cool ideas generating with our Salesforce implementation partner that's going to be creating some pretty transparent dashboards for all of our enterprise clients.
Excellent. How do people get a hold of you? We have a couple minutes left. Give them your email addresses and phone numbers.
Yeah, we can put it in the chat as well, but real quickly, go to our website. You can click on any get in touch button and you can select whether or not you're a broker, real estate agent, MLS.
What's the website address?
TourZazz, TOURZAZZ. Stacy just put it in into the chat form. TourZazz, TOURZAZZ.ai. You can also email us at customersuccess@tourzazz.ai. You can also call us at 737-787-7720. We can put those in the chat as well.
Checking my spelling. Or y'all can call Brian.
Of course, you guys always know how to get a hold of us through a wave group. Yeah. Brian doesn't want to talk to anybody else. He's got to go sell houses.
That's right.
Brian, thank you so much for showing up, man. I know it was...
Happy to answer any questions if anybody needs it from the agent side.
All right, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, awfully gracious of Brian to give us his time because he sells a lot of houses. He's being really, really humble on this call. But thank you so much, friend. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's great. So you guys can see that this is the classic story of a group of high producing real estate agents. I think Stacy and Michael, you guys are ranked number 4 on the roster right now at Realty Austin. You guys are having a great year.
People bumped us down to number 6.
I think Brian just bumped us to number 6.
Okay. But it's great. It's great
working on your app, not on your business.
There you go. No, it's really wonderful to see the promise of innovation through the adoption of RESO standards has been something that's been around a long time, and you guys are one of the great success stories of real estate agents who've invented a solution. It's an endpoint solution which really solves tremendous problems, and I think that other agents across the country and MLSs are really going to benefit from your knowledge and awareness of how real estate really happens, as well as the investments that you guys have made at having world-class people design your application and deploy your application. So congratulations to all of you. Brian, keep selling, man. You're doing a great job. I really appreciate your candor on today's call. Thank you all to the MLSs for showing up. I hope you enjoyed today's RE Technar. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Victor.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Victor,
Thank
so
you.
much.